ladies and gentlemen. So I have a first-time guest on the podcast this week. Someone who's doing their thing in music, which that's the whole reason why I started this podcast is I wanted to talk about music. So uh, we got the owner of Music Brands and artist and songwriter, Mr. Von, is in the building. What's going on?
What's going on, man? It's a pleasure to be here. Be on here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for taking out time to talk to me, man, about everything. And we're gonna get into music, your project that's about to drop. But because we're both in Columbus and we both are creatives in Columbus, like it was only, I think, only a matter of time before our paths crossed or whatever. Because Columbus is only, it's a huge city, but like the creative culture, we all kind of are like
Right.
we mingle with each other. And one thing that I wanted to ask you about off the top is like I'm a Columbus transplant. I've only been here 3 years now, but I think in that 3 years, I've seen the creative culture grow in the time that I've been there. What do you think about it? Like with the way that it's grown and it's continuing to develop and everything with the creatives here.
Well, Columbus is interesting because from like a location standpoint, it's always Cleveland that always gets, and they have a lot
Yeah,
of really rich history with music and stuff up in Cleveland, and so Columbus gets overlooked a lot. Even when artists come and tour, they kind of they'll go hit Cleveland and Cincinnati before they hit
yeah,
Columbus. So um, when I before I moved out to LA, coming up in the city, it was a lot of cliques, man. You had a lot of different crews. You had an older crowd that wasn't so connected to social media and stuff. Pretty much run the music scene out here. So everybody pretty much stayed in their own little thing, and it really wasn't anything bringing everybody together. And I didn't really, after a while, I didn't really see one artist being able to unite the entire city. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because of the culture, it was never like that. I think as of late, though, when I moved back from LA, man, I see a lot of development within it. Definitely from a fashion standpoint. So a lot of the arts are starting to really come together and create their districts, and really like Rich Street is a really rich district where a lot of artists and painters and stuff are kind of cultivating and mingling and stuff. So it's an interesting climate now, and I think really the only thing we're missing, man, is that one really big company like if Rock Nation
yeah,
or Def Jam or even if Spotify had like a headquarters here in Columbus, man, that one staple that can kind of bring other companies similar to it to the area, that then obviously has a domino effect because you have a lot of people that want to move closer to opportunity. That's why they leave Columbus, is because they want to go move
yeah.
closer to opportunity. So if you can bring opportunity closer to people here, I think it's an amazing place, bro. It's a 6 hour drive to get to any city, within range, in a lot of major cities within the space. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean we're not far from Shy, Indianapolis. You can get to
Right,
DC in six
right,
hours. Like New York is a little
right.
bit further. That's like 8. But like, yeah, I love how centralized Columbus is. And then because we have Ohio State here, we get all
Yeah,
different types of cultures and backgrounds to come here. So it's
absolutely.
it's really dope mingling. Was it important for you when you were starting music to have it based in Columbus, or was it tempting to like
Absolutely.
go somewhere else?
No, absolutely. So originally I founded it and had the idea for the company when I was living in Los Angeles. Um, the the idea, I was just looking at the way that, because I always try to, so I was the kid when I would get toys when I was younger. I would buy a toy and then immediately unscrew it and take it apart because I want to see how it worked. You know what I mean? I'm very analytical when it comes to that. So when I lived out in LA, I'm looking around like, okay, why is Columbus not like LA? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And one things that I started realizing was my first experience of driving in the skyline is Capitol Records, Def Jam, Warner, all these companies that as a aspiring artist or entertainer, you've always wanted to be a part of. We don't have that. Our skyline is Nationwide, Children's Hospital, and Huntington Bank and things
yeah.
like that. So it's definitely important for me to, because the vision for what I want to build is so massive. I absolutely wanted to plant it here because there's nothing like it, in the city, and I think uh, it's a great, it'd just be a great pioneer type of platform that could bring a lot more to it. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. So let's get into like you and your start. So you had the college anthem that dropped on YouTube, right? Like, what was that like for you to go viral? And nowadays, like, so many artists get their kick by going viral. Like, what was that like?
It was dope, man. You know what I mean? I was just now like really trying to figure out who I wanted to be as an artist, and
Oh,
it was a blessing that the campus, and at the time, you know, OU just at the time OU was a very very popular school at the time. We were the number one party school in the nation. We had the biggest music festival in the Midwest that was coming out of OU. Everybody wanted to go there, you know, especially, you know, a lot of my peers, man, and our sports teams were doing really well too. We were going really deep in the tournaments and stuff, both football and basketball. So it was a lot of hype around it. So it was just good timing that then I started to start making my climb my freshman year, come in, and the song did well because it was so relatable to a lot of college students and stuff. I was really self conscious about it because it was so gumdrop poppy, like some stuff that just like wasn't really music that I thought that I'd be making it that I grew up on, man. But it clicked and it worked just because of the demographic that I was in. So it was a dope time, man. I mean, it was definitely a great experience for me.
now something that like we don't often hear about the downside to it. So if there was one, what was the downside to having something go viral like that? Were you even prepared for it? I guess that would probably be the first one, like to not be prepared for something mentally like that.
Well, yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting it to.
Uh-huh.
To do what it did, man. But from a preparation standpoint, like I think I was. I mean, it didn't change. It definitely gave me like a great start and gave me a great push, man, to really be able to start building a solid fan base around my music. And that song, even though it didn't really reflect uh, music that I would think that I would be making or music that I even listen to, you know, it made people want to know more about me. And then so from there, I was able to take that and now introduce them to the music that I actually felt like. And they were more open and receptive to it. It's because, you know, I had already caught their ear with the dorm thing. I would tour, man. I mean, it put me on tours where I had to schedule my classes strategically around tour schedules and stuff. So I would be done with class on Thursday. I would never have a class on Friday, so that we can, you know, go to a different campus. And we drove as far as Texas and South by Southwest and stuff. And then, you know, turn around, drive all night Sunday, be back by class like Monday morning, you know. And that was
Dang,
pretty much how I operated throughout
that's
college, you
crazy.
know, for 4 years, bro. So, or, you know, really 4.5/5 because of that lifestyle
Yeah,
affected the school part of it too, man.
yeah. Was it important for you to not leave school to chase that dream? I know that had to be tempting.
Yeah, it was very tempting, man. And my parents always preached college. You know what I mean? And it was
Mhm.
so like that was for them that meant that they were successful as parents if I got to college and graduated. And that was something they always talked about. So for me, it was always a battle. It was always a fight. You know, if I wanted to drop out to pursue music, because they also looked at it as, you know, you're really really you're good at it and it's fun, but are you still going to be as serious about it when it gets real, and you actually have responsibilities and stuff? You have
Mhm.
all these kids that perform and do all this stuff in college, man, and then, you know, you have to grow up at some point, and, you know, are you passionate about it to sleep out of a suitcase, you know, for 2 years or whatever, and couch surf, or are you courageous enough to go to a city you've never been to before and try to make it happen, you know, or is it it was just fun and easy to do at the time, and now, you know, I'm going to go get that job because I can't not have a car like my peers have one. I'm supposed to be married by this date, or, you know, even, you know, I got a baby and I got to do this, all these other pressures and stuff that take you away from the thing that
Mhm.
you're the most passionate about. Pretty much separates, you know, what you want to do. So for them, they didn't know how serious I was about, you know, what I want to do.
All right. I couldn't even imagine being faced with that temptation. Luckily, I found my passion after that because yeah, man, that would have been a hard one for me. And so what's it like being an artist that also manage artists? Like, how do you strike that balance?
It's tough, man. It's being resourceful, man. And for me, I guess my approach is more so from a mentorship standpoint.
Okay.
I have experience in this, and and I'm really just trying to prepare them to also be young entrepreneurs, young artists, business people, and thinking of new ideas. I was having a conversation with two of my artists the other night. Which is like whatever you're thinking about, or whatever you're thinking about doing, because they're preparing to release some music, drop videos, and I'm like, man, it's not big enough. You know, I know it's not big enough. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So think bigger, and I'm always trying to get them to think bigger and don't allow money or capital to limit and stifle their imaginations. You know, you'll be surprised some of the ways that things can come together when you believe in it and when it's when it excites you enough. You know, the universe works in mysterious ways, man. So always just telling them just to just expand their horizons and think bigger than what you want to do. And that's how I approach a lot of my music and stuff too. So it's kind of a lead by example type of role. And then luckily I have an amazing team of managers, people that we brought on that have management experience to handle a lot of the more tedious aspects of management, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. What going in like was at the beginning of 2020, you got your project coming out, which we'll be talking about. I'm really excited to talk about, especially that I got to hear it. But in 2020, who's some of the artists that you're looking at in Columbus, other than artists that you work with? It could be artists that you work with, but like some of the artists that you think people need to take more notice of in Columbus.
Okay, so I'm absolutely going to use this as an opportunity to plug. So we're going to
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I had to change it.
but we're gonna go. But definitely, King Shot is a really talented artist that we have, man. A young kid that is has a glow about him, man, and humility, a humble confidence that is really really unique to somebody. So that's somebody I'm really excited. His music is really really good. We have another artist named Poppy K. Pepe, I call him Pepe as a nickname. But he's also super talented too. Very like his work ethic is something I've never seen before. I mean, he lives in the studio and is always working. And he's also an amazing engineer, so mixing his own music and things like that. Dollar Sign Asia is another dope artist that we have the privilege of managing and having on our platform. And she's just unique. There's nobody like her in Columbus. She can sing and rap, which is amazing, and she has a dope look uh, about her that I think once we find the right once we just get more around her, I think that and once we get some more music together and stuff, man, it's really gonna make a big splash outside of our camp. The artists that I'm inspired by because they're doing it on a bigger level. So you got like EKT40, they just got a really big deal, with Dream Chasers,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, and that's a big deal, and it's actually there's a warehouse here in this location that we're about to transition into. It's a lot bigger than the space that we're in now. But the warehouse that's attached to it, Rock Nation is doing a lot of like their marketing projects and stuff out of this particular building. So it's very close
Wow.
to having this type of industry that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Doobie is another, really talented artist that found a way to brand himself and find a niche within the market that's allowing him to do really well. There's a Trigo is an artist that's really connected to just like the
Yeah.
roots, and somebody that's also, something I keep an eye on. Elijah Banks is another really talented artist that I actually have a relationship with, and got to see his growth. And, actually, I gave him, I think, like maybe his first feature,
Okay.
like a time ago, right after around the dorm music time. So me and him have a special relationship as well, man. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head. We're always looking. Jay Mills is another really talented artist. He's a workhorse as well. He's actually over here in a session with some clients right now, and he stays in sessions all day long. So I don't even know when
Okay.
he has time to work on his own music because he's always booked. You know what I mean? But he's super talented, man, and it's just cool, man. And, me being an older artist, um, it's cool because I'm learning from them too. They're picking up certain things from me because I'm trying to get them to take the songwriting aspect of it a lot more serious. Songwriters last a long time in the music industry.
Yeah.
Not being a good songwriter, you can get away with the look and stuff for so long, but your window is 2 or 3 years. So again, I'm also trying to prepare them and motivate them and think about the bigger picture and longevity and sustainability, because that's what music is about. For independent artists, remain independent. So yeah, and I'm always just looking for new artists and stuff. But those are the ones that stand out to me, sure.
That's what's up. You name basically the who's who right now in Columbus. So that's and it's funny because we have such like it's bubbling, it's coming. And I was saying this on another. I think when I was talking to Cassius Keys, by the way, who need a shout out as well. But it's really you feel it that it's about to come for Columbus, and I really feel that because we got so many dope artists here and. It's gonna pop in a way like, and the culture here is more than just music too. Like we got dope clothing designers here, like artists, like everything. Yeah. So but to get into you now as an artist, let's get into it. First of all, let's start with the title of this project, Heaven and Earthly Places. Was it important for you to work your faith into this album, because it's all through the titles of this album and these songs, and I love it.
Right. Was it important? Yes. Was it intentional, or was it something that I had to force? No. Even dorm music. I don't think I had any references in that one, but that project that song was on was always. I was an English major in school. I'm a storyteller, so whether that's through film or music or whatever, I love telling stories, and I love linear narrated things, So, so for me, I've always followed this same story, from college, and it started off as this kid that grew up in the church. It wasn't wasn't that dude, but definitely grew up in that, and my family was that, so I definitely knew God, knew the gospel, but then you grow up, and then you go to high school, and then you have girls in high school, you have sex for the first time, man, and then you like it, so then you start doing all these things. So the human side of me has always been a conflict, even in college. I'm in college, and dorm music is viral, and I'm the hottest dude on campus, and I'm touring and stuff. I have groupies already. I'm 19 and stuff. It's on a small scale, but it's a lot of temptation. And I make a decision, and I feel bad about it. I feel terrible about it. Why did I do that? I don't even know her. I feel shitty. Then I write a song. And now a whole project is just about how my experience in college, and trying to balance between trying to be, live the right way and be happy with myself, but also still wanting to blend in, wanting to have fun, and wanting to be cool and be a part of those crowds. I've always had this fantasy of Los Angeles, and Los Angeles being in the movies where you see these rock stars that crash and burn, and I've always been fascinated by that storyline. And so even then, I'll do a lot of foreshadowing in music, and I talk about LA. So Ego 3 is dope because what it does is it kind of brings it full circle, because you go back and listen to my first project, I'm talking about what life would be like when I moved to LA, or if I was in LA, would it be like this? Is it this times 10? I know it's this times 10, so let me make songs and kind of imagine what that would be like, and then actually now experience it and kind of manifesting a lot of things that I said on my first project in real life. Now this is my chance to actually talk about what that experience did for me, and the transformation that came from that. So, and it just happened to be, definitely rooted in scripture and stuff. So.
That's what's up. Let's I got to get into this before we get into anything else on this project. Okay. And I know heaven I want to talk about too, but the fall and Genesis, like, so where were you at mentally when you wrote those?
Man, that's dope, man, because we do this thing called quality control here at the studio, and I played that album, and that's funny because the fall was like that was a song I wasn't going to put on the album because I used to not like it, and then it kind of started fitting more and more, started coming together, but it's funny because they like that one too, so that's interesting. But honestly, man, I'm in LA, and you know, a really really good friend of mine that I grew up with. Well, not
Okay.
really good. I knew when I was younger, and then we reconnected after college. When I was in LA, he was also out there as well, and being around him and the person that he was, and then kind of seeing it firsthand without me having to experience this transformation, but seeing it firsthand with somebody that I'm rooming with and I'm seeing every day, and I'm seeing this lifestyle literally turn him into a completely different person to the point where he even looked different. His hair was longer and stuff, and I seen it slowly but surely become that, man, and it actually put a rift in our relationship. That was directly in response to that particular scenario. Talking directly to this person, but also seeing little pieces of that within myself as well. So, and then Genesis is based on the storyline of the album. Genesis is me now uh, feeding into those voices, you know, those
Mhm.
voices that can kind of speak to you when you are centered and when you are balanced, and kind of tell you to do the wrong things, and make you question things that you know aren't right, and kind of blurs the lines between good and bad and stuff. And so Genesis is that, you know, and my first taste of this experience of having this thing that I'm now starting to listen and buy into, affecting and influencing my decisions in this, you know, in this world. You know?
With with this project being 10 tracks, was it intentional for you to set out for 10 tracks, or did you kind of just stop and say, all right, this feels like it's done? I told the story that I came to tell.
Uh, so yes, it was intentional to keep it short. I'm a really big fan of short albums. I think
Mhm.
that we're in the ADHD type of like hyper listen generation and stuff, man. And whenever I see an album that has 22 to 26 songs, it doesn't make me happier as a fan to see
Mhm.
that. To me, it looks like, first off, I feel overwhelmed. You know, it's a lot of music. I'm just gonna go skip through and look for the ones with the stars on them before I kind of listen to everything.
Yeah.
Um, and then also it kind of looks like you just threw some throwaways on there, and you was just trying to just put a bunch of songs on this project. So I've never liked long albums. I always felt like Born Center, J. Cole's second project, had he cut it to maybe 12 tracks, man, that album could have been a lot doper. But he had some songs in there that just kind of felt like he just threw
Yeah.
them on just to throw.
Yeah.
And so for me, yeah, I wanted to keep it very concise. I've always been trying to master keeping attention for as long as possible for music. You know, when we watch
Mhm.
film and movies, we don't skip scenes and stuff to our favorite scene of the movie and then only watch those scenes. We watch the movie from front to back. So why is it when we listen to music uh, that we skip around and only listen to the song we like and stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to keep it connected and keep it cohesive to where you know, every song has context within the entire project. So I wanted to do that. The album can be listened to front to back, and you can also reverse it and listen to it from back to front too, and it gives you uh, similar stories but different ways to get in there. If that makes sense. So
Okay.
that's
I like that.
what I loved about that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why the cover, you can flip the cover front or backwards, and it's two different album covers. Just a lot of, I'm a Libra too, so I love finding
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I
That
love
yeah,
finding like
yeah.
pieces and everything, you know what I mean, and find the balance in everything. So and duality, you know, is like super dope. The cover um, is is
Okay.
that
Yeah.
um, we can
And
do that
then
and a different cover, yeah.
okay, I feel that. Let's talk about the first. I guess this is the first single off the album. It's Heaven, right?
First single off the album is Die Amazing. Die
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
And the first song on the album, though, the intro is Heaven. Yeah, is that what you're
Okay.
saying? The
Yeah.
intro.
This first one on the album. How do I want to attack? Okay. So when you completely abuse this beat, how did that feel to walk out the booth? Because listen, when no joking, this isn't me. This is no cap. This isn't just because I'm interviewing you. When I listen to Heaven, I listened to it 4 times back to back because I was like, what?
No, that's super dope. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And I'm a person, and everything has its place, right? Every type of music, the mumble rap, everything has its place. So I'm not one of those people who just hates on everything that's not lyrical or whatever. But I love a message in the music that I listen to. And when I heard Heaven, I was like, I know it's something I missed. There's no way I caught all that. Let me go back and listen again.
Oh, man, that's so dope. That's super
Yeah.
dope.
So like what was it like, the process of writing it and then like coming out of it? And I know you had a hit on your hands when you walked out of that one.
So the guy on the hook, man, Ethan White, is an artist that I've been working with since I started making music. At the time, he lived like on campus, like in a dorm very close to me. So he was
Okay.
somebody that I could rely on. I always he grew up in the church, so we just got synergy too, just because I like soul in his voice, and it's something that I like how it sounds. I can go work with anybody, you know what I'm saying? Other artists and stuff, man. But it's something about him. I kind of consider him like, if I was Kanye, he's like my John Legend. You know what I mean? Just
Okay.
kind of like a go-to sound, man. And then he transferred and went to Ohio State. But I would still work with him whenever I would come home and get in the lab. And he's on every single project I've ever dropped since the beginning. So even fans of my music that have been following my music for a while, they appreciate hearing him on there because they know that it's still the same story. The story hasn't
Okay.
switched up. Nothing changed. Producer is still there. We're still watching the same movie. The movie hasn't changed. So, so that's why I use E White, man. I knew he was gonna kill it. I had the verses on there, man. I had one verse on there, but I didn't have a hook or anything. So I kind of sat on. I put it on like 3 different beats, and just sat on it for years, bro. I mean, I've been working on
Okay.
this album for 4 years, man. I didn't really tie it all together until the last several months. But that's amazing. I made that in 2016. You know what I'm saying? So I've been sitting on this stuff for a while, and finally, man, he sent back a hook, and I loved it. And I remember I was listening to this Lauryn Hill song, and I was listening to that marching, 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 marching. So I shoot him the song and shoot him some text. I was like, man, you gotta add some marchings in there, man. Like some marching, kind of get people, So he added those, man. And it sounded so dope. And I think it's a great record to really like start the album off on.
Yeah.
And I think it pretty much sets the tone. The birds chirping is really important to the storyline. The birds chirping represent the doves represent heaven. So we're in a heavenly place. And just a quick synopsis of the album, real quick, man. The story is about a man who falls from heaven. What he does is he lands in the ocean, where he's pretty much just floating aimlessly, where he falls in love and has sex for the first time, has his heart broken. He's washed on shore. When he gets washed on shore, he's on a strange land, and he is befriended by this jungle man with dreads and stuff that calls himself Eve. Eve is telling him, man, this is my world, my jungle. It's kill or be killed. And you gotta watch out for 2 types of things. Ops, and you gotta watch out for groupies. He said it a lot more aggressively than that.
Yeah.
Ops and groupies. When he says it, you can hear what they are, and they're represented by hyenas and wolves. We as a character, the listeners, represented as a lion. Obviously hyenas and lions. One lion can kill a hyena, but you get a bunch of them in a room, they can take the lion out. Same thing with a lot of anything, especially women. Really, seductive women. So there's situations where that in a more literal way, has played out as well. But he gets befriended, and they tell him to watch out for these 2 things. You got to choose who you want to be. You want to be free, you stick with me. I got your back. Matter of fact, try this. I tell him to try something. That's where it goes into the fall, where now I'm starting to go through this psychedelic experience, and now I'm starting to I'm changing now. I'm starting to become more angry, and becoming more spiteful. But then leads into Genesis, where now I'm starting to pick up, and me and him, smoking weed and swinging through the trees, like like monkeys or whatever, hanging out in treetops, and this jungle type of lifestyle, man. And the longer I'm sticking with him, or the longer he's with me, the crazier he's making me. So by the time we get to Heathens, I'm having I'm violent now, and now he has me thinking about murder and people who done me wrong and stuff. So eventually, I spiral out of control and die. I'm awoken by a voice from this very gentle woman who is actually Eve. She says her name is Eve, and I'm on this planet called Earth. This planet is beautiful. You can see birds and the fish in the sea. You could drink the water. Everything that we need is right here provided. I don't know why you make it so complicated. Are you hungry? Try this. She gives me something to try, and from there, that sobers me up. Where I actually have a revelation from God that's kind of telling me what my purpose is and what the meaning of me being in this world is for. That eventually leads me back to Eden, which means oneness with God. So I'm not back in heaven. I'm still on earth, but now I'm more enlightened because now I have this sense of a oneness with my Creator, and I know exactly what I want to do. So it's more braggadocio and ready to go. And you hear the doves and the birds from the intro on the outro to show you that we're back in that heavenly place. So when you reverse it and listen to it backwards, you meet her first. She's the one that sends you down this dark path to where eventually have clarity and kind of still come back to where we're supposed to be. So, and I think that's the
Wow.
story of everybody, bro. I think that's life. It's bigger than just than that. I think everybody has a place where they're on the right path. They lose it, but I think it's important to also understand that it's not over either. It
Yeah.
wasn't so black and white where the beginning of the album is good and the second half of the album is bad, because nobody is all good and nobody is all bad.
Yeah.
The bad stuff is in the middle. You can put some good in the front end, some good on the back end, because it all eventually leads back to that anyway, because that's who we naturally are.
And I think when you break down that message that way, first of all, that's mind blowing. You just went through the whole album. And I feel it. But like, I think it's an important message nowadays because we forget as a culture sometimes about redemption, right? We're so quick
Right,
to like paint somebody in a certain light because of something they did in the past. Like you see now people pull up tweets from 10, 15 years ago and want to hold that against somebody now. And it's like we all go through redemption and we're completely different people than what we were even I'm a different person than what I was a year ago, much less 5, 10 years ago. So
right, absolutely.
so that's what's up, man. I appreciate you breaking down that album. Everything that I was gonna ask you just broke down there. So like,
I was trying to hold out. I'm like, man, should I fit the story in now, or should I
yeah,
wait to let them go through? But man, I think that's the quickest way for me to describe the context of the album. And then obviously from there, people can, and it's so many layers to it, man. And I think even just from a very organic standpoint, I think people will have their own interpretation based on their own experiences and their own lives and stuff that they relate to the most. Find even a deeper meaning maybe I even knew was in there, from it, and that's what I'm hoping, and praying for is that,
that's,
it's one of those. So,
that's what's up. The album comes out the 15th, right?
February 15th. I think we're actually going to lean towards the 16th though, because we have
Okay.
another artist that's actually releasing as well. His release party is that Saturday. We're gonna push mine to the next day. So
Okay,
keep it up.
cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
you have
So
the week.
we
The 15th.
we got a link, man. We're in the same city. We ain't got we
Yeah,
got
yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely, bro. I'm gonna have to have you come to the studio for.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, my bad. Siri started talking, but yeah, for sure, man. Just let me know anytime. I know this was kind of we put this together over the course of like the last couple of days. That's why I wasn't able to
Yeah,
do it in person, man. But I appreciate you taking time out to talk to me and break down this
absolutely.
album that people need to listen to, man.
And I can't wait, man. I can't wait for it to come out. It's been a minute, man, but I put a lot of time into it. I really like the story. I think it's the most complete album I've ever made before. I think from just the concept, I think the story is dope. I think the writing of it is dope. The production, I'm really proud of. I'm proud of the diversity and the different spectrum of colors and vibe feels that the album provides as well. And I like that it's short, man. I mean, I feel like it's packaged well where you can get through it in 30 minutes, man. And the goal is hopefully they do just run it back. I know Apple Music kind of does that anyway on its own. So I listened to it straight through and kind of didn't even realize that it reset all over again, because that outro and that intro have the same birds and the same sort of feel to it. So you don't even notice that it's so recycled. So
That's what's up, man. What is before we go and you plug your social media and everything? What people walking into this album and this being the first time listening to a Von Graves project? What do you want them to walk in feeling, and what do you want them to leave out realizing?
Ask me that again. I'm sorry.
So anyone is the first time coming into a project from you,
Hmm.
what do you want them to come into the album thinking and feeling like? What's the way that you want them to approach coming into the album? What can they
Uh,
expect?
come in with the open mind, open ear. Um, but I don't think it's that hard of a sell, to be honest. I
Oh.
think that I don't have to do anything. I think just listen to it,
I feel that.
and you know what I mean, and it's gonna do what it do. You know, so.
That's what's up. All right, man. Tell them where they can follow you because I know they're gonna want to follow you after this.
So you can follow me at Real Von Graves. That's RealVon. Graves, Graves. That's both on Instagram and Twitter. Um, and I tried to do a TikTok. I don't know how to really. I
Man,
ain't really get the TikTok thing, man. And I go speak at school, um, and a lot of the middle school kids had me create one. So I only posted like one video on there, but the kids love it though. So it's a lot of middle school kids on there. So I don't
TikTok is
know.
the first thing that I haven't even like. I've never downloaded, but just like watching my daughter, it's made me feel old just looking at it. I'm like, you know what? I'm good on
Yeah,
that.
it's just a lot going on, man. So it's like, man, but definitely also Facebook. Definitely like and subscribe. You can just find me at Von Graves. And then follow music brands too, man. I mean, our artists and that's music is my outlet where outside of the music and stuff, man, music is going to be where people get to see the side of me that is very innovative and that's uh, away from music, trying to build bigger things than even just that. Things that from tech and apps and things like that. So it's so much that I want to do, man. And the music is just a small part of it, but it's a part that's important because it's a vessel and it's a way to then get people to look at you. And then from there, I can start to really really introduce other sides of myself to them. So.
Right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. This has been another episode of The Awakened. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Don't leave yet. We're gonna go ahead and
Okay.
sign off. That's it. Peace.